calling. Well, hello and welcome to the Griffith College 2020 Graduation Showcase for Film and TV Production Students. I'm Tanya Doyle, the Programme Director of the BA in Film and TV Production. Firstly, I would like to congratulate all of our graduates for the dedication, hard work and adaptability they demonstrated over the last 3 months. Usually our graduation showcase takes the form of a live screening in a cinema, but due to the COVID restrictions, that wasn't possible this year. However, we couldn't let our graduates complete 3 years of study and not celebrate this achievement. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. Another person who would also like to send her congratulations to our graduates this evening is multi-award winning Irish director Dervla Walsh. And of course, you all know that Dervla has worked as a director on drama series including EastEnders, Shameless, Penny Dreadful, Fargo, The Tudors, the Marvel series The Punisher, and Handmaid's Tale. So what I'd like to do now is share a video that Dervla recorded earlier today.
Good evening to all of you out there, wherever you are on this glorious Thursday evening in June. It is a great honour for me to be asked to launch the premiere screening of Griffith College's Film and TV Graduation Showcase. It's odd for me not to be able to see you, as I feel certain I have probably rubbed shoulders with most of you in the coffee queue in Noshington across the road. Though a native of Tubbacurry in Sligo, who did my BA in Communication Studies in DCU in the North Side, I have lived here in Dublin 8 for nearly 30 years. As I have watched this South City community bloom and Griffith Barracks transform itself into the vibrant and creative college it is today, I've also been part of the development of the Irish film and TV community, both at home and abroad. So I feel particularly proud that you are emerging as young filmmakers from the creative hub that is Griffith College in Dublin 8. I know this day and this proud moment of graduation isn't how you, nor your parents, nor your lecturers had imagined it. COVID-19 has challenged us all in unimaginable ways, both in our personal lives and professional lives, in our community and family relationships, and in our mental health and stamina. But it is a testament to you and your parents that you are here today, even if through Zoom or in spirit, but you know what I mean. I had the pleasure of looking at some of your graduation film work earlier today, and I was really impressed by the diversity of voices and styles, by the standards of lighting, of camera work, sound, editing and graphics in each of your pieces in progress. Being a drama director, I was particularly struck by the freshness of approach in Sarah's From This Day Forward, Ryan's A Lonely Haunt and Julius's Dublin Noir. I was also struck by the emerging themes of artistic expression as explored in the documentary work of Auntie's Tagger, Cameron's Dublin Spoken, Kieran's House of Pixels, and Dennis's Rhyme and Poetry. Such an interesting array of subjects that you all got. And the theme of community and mental health, which was diversely explored in Emmett's Not in My Backyard, Sam's Silent Starling, and Bill's Madness in the Method, which Bill I could very much relate to. Though unfinished, and I know how painful it is to share your work before it's ready, each struck me as a pearl showing vision and creativity in spite of the most challenging of circumstances. If everyone's work has one theme in common, it is that of connection, characters that express the tension between the desire for connection and the fear of it. And it is in this tension that will now spur you on through your careers in film and TV. I still feel it as rawly today as I did in my own student project. Tom Courtney used to say to me just before every take, "Nerves are the compliment we pay our audience." Then we wiped his brow and said action. So it's expect the nerves to last for quite a while. I urge you to embrace the fear and use it to push yourself to make work that reflects your own unique voice and vision. The success of Sally Rooney and Lenny Abrahamson's collaboration on Normal People shows us how confident we can be in our own Irish voices. It has raised the bar internationally and shows us how we in Ireland punch well above our weight. Collaboration and resilience will now become your teachers, and I urge you to reach out. Your contemporaries and fellow students, though competitors, are also your collaborators, so use each other. So many great creative marriages were made in college days. Lenny and Ed are just one fabulous example. Mine was made in my first student placement and then in my first job. And I have no doubt our paths will cross again beyond Noshington. And please introduce yourselves when they do. Coffee is on me. Joel Schumacher, who made St. Elmo's Fire and the Lost Boys, who's just recently passed away, said, "Filmmaking is like mountain climbing. No matter how many times you've climbed, you can still fall off." So I say, enjoy the climb, knowing that you will fall off, but the next climb, you'll scale higher and to greater heights and with greater new visions. So keep the faith, congratulations, and welcome to the industry. Have a great night.
Well. So finally, before I go, I would just like to acknowledge all of the lecturers who've worked on with this amazing group of filmmakers over the last 3 years. That'll be Grania Humphreys, Siobhan Farrell, Owen McArdle, Seamus Harty, Colin McKenna, Terence Arocht, Deirdre Kearns, Jonathan Kesselman, Hilary Fennell, Kieran Tannum, David Grennan, Vincent McEntee, Greg Clooney, Ronan McMeal, Matt Mellis, Mario Borges, Dr. Robbie Smith, Dr. Ruth Moran, Dr. Michael Connerty, John Wallace, Daniel Hegarty, Sonia Gilday, Pierce Ryan, Gavin Ryan, and the host of tonight's event, lecturer and screenwriter JJ Harrington, and lecturer and development executive Colin Powser-Cowman. So I'll hand over to you now, Colin.
I speak for all the lecturers to firstly congratulate an amazing group of students in 2020, 5 amazing documentaries and 5 amazing dramas. I'd also like to share, I'm sure I speak for all the lecturers in saying thanks Tanya for the gig. Okay, so moving swiftly forward, we'd like to open tonight with a little bit of a tease for one of our documentaries. Now, in good IFTA or dare I say, sorry, I beg your pardon, in good IFTA traditions, I lost my point there. We don't have the filmmaker here with us. He has unfortunately not been able to make it very last minute. So that's okay. We're going to take a little look at his film. This is a film about cultural migrancy, and it is a really interesting journey. Tak, who is Egyptian, who's moved to Dubai, he is a rapper. JLOL, who is from Nigeria, and he's moved to Dublin. What do they share in common is their love of rap, and this film is explored by Dennis Shihadi, and the film is called Rhyme and Poetry. So if we could take a little look at that now.
I don't belong in Egypt, not because I'm not Egyptian, but Egyptians don't care for me. To them, I'm from Dubai.
I was brainwashed a bit into thinking like, oh, my mom left me.
I don't have as much support as it seems like I have in Dubai. And that's not anybody's fault. Who am I going to get support from?
All we do is outsource, especially in hip hop, because we don't have any real role models or anyone who's really broken into the mainstream media that's representing. And that stigma of, oh no, Irish people don't make rap music or whatever, and just having to like break that boundary.
I put a song out, I have 700 reposts that day. People will share the shit out of your music and they will act like they love you. It's a city of fakeness and lies.
Very enjoyable piece of documentary making. I'm going to hand over now to my partner in crime in this year's lecturing, JJ, who is going to introduce us to some of the drama film work. Thanks, JJ.
Thanks so much, Colin. So first up this evening, we have Bill O'Toole, and Bill has written and directed a short black comedy drama called Madness in the Method. And Bill, this is quite a universal story. I think a lot of people can relate to this. And it's very much an exploration of the self-consuming process of writing. So Bill, if we have you there, hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
If you want to introduce us to your film, just sort of shortcut us into what it's about.
Yeah, so really what the film's about is about a young female Irish novelist called Lulu, played by the incredible Vanessa Schaefer. And the story kind of follows Lulu. She's kind of a one-hit wonder. She's in the process of writing her next novel. And she spent all the money they gave them. She's in the deal, she's stuck, and she sends off the draft and they hate it. They don't like it at all. They rejected it and they give her a week to fix it, kind of shape it and whatnot. So she decides to go off on this journey, but she's plagued with writer's block. And so she says, well, I have to get inspired. So she starts looking at the lives of her heroes, but the heroes don't, she doesn't get inspired by them. So she says, well, if I can't get inspired by the lives of my heroes, I'll have to live like my heroes and get inspired. So she kind of goes down this rabbit hole of drug indulgence, alcohol, even a little kind of black magic. It kind of gets a bit surreal towards the end. And I guess the whole kind of proposition that's put forth is that where does kind of crazy become genius, you know, and kind of how far are you willing to go and at what cost to get inspired and kind of make good art, you know?
Excellent. Well, I think, like we were saying, it's a very universal story. I think a lot of people in your position can relate to that story. Why were you drawn to this story, though?
Well, when I was kind of tasked with making a film, and I had a few ideas, but they were either too ambitious or not ambitious enough. So I found myself quite stuck, and I didn't know what to write about. And then somebody said to me, "Well, write what you know." So I decided to write about somebody who didn't know what to write about. So it kind of, I guess, rolled from there really. And
okay.
Yeah, I think I was quite drawn to it because I think it's quite a relatable story. I think in a lot of, you know, any kind of career you have where you have to sit down and put fingers to a keyboard, you know, and even beyond that, I think deadlines are a thing. And I think when the juices aren't flowing, you know, it's a tough business. So
absolutely. Well, look, that's very well expressed. Thank you so much. We actually have a trailer for the film. This is from the opening of the film. So we're going to share a little bit of that. And then afterwards you can kind of comment on that. Okay. So let's just take a little look.
Writing, coffee, writing, coffee. I was feeling pretty happy. Sent it all off and all was good until they said it was the worst thing they had ever read. Started calling me a one-hit wonder and threatened to drop me if I didn't write something new by the deadline. I asked them when the deadline was. They said Friday.
And there we go. So I think that gives people quite a good flavor of the film, Bill. So is there anything you want to say about that clip? Do you want to talk about how that relates to the rest of the film?
Well, I guess I kind of looked at this film like almost like a roller coaster ride. And I suppose what you saw there was kind of like her being locked in because it gets quite frantic after that. That's kind of the calm before the storm. So yeah, as we can see, she's kind of, she's like a drowned spider on the rug curled up. So she's very not motivated. So I think it gets a bit wilder from there. So.
Well, a bit like your protagonist and all other student filmmakers and filmmakers the world over, you encountered challenges in the making of this project. So I would ask you just for a moment to shortcut us into maybe one central challenge that you had to overcome in the making of this project and maybe something that you learned along the way.
It was quite a crazy shoot. We shot it in a day and a half. We worked very relentlessly to kind of get it done. And I'm proud of kind of the work myself and my team did. It was really a team effort. And I think that I'm proud of the end product. And I think that something that I've kind of learned from the process is how important it is to kind of ask people's opinion on the characters. Because I think especially at my kind of young age and for all my peers, of course, worldwide almost, when you kind of enter kind of the world of writing and directing, I'd say there's a tendency to kind of be very protective and precious over the ideas. And I just think that what I've really learned from this project is take on board everyone's opinion, because, you know, you don't want to become tyrannical in any sense. So I think that what I really enjoyed about this project was meeting up with Vanessa, because it is a female character, and initially it was a male character, and I changed it to a female to kind of separate myself from the character. But obviously that, you know, females have a completely different perspective of the world than males. So it was really good to work with Vanessa Schaefer and kind of develop the character and really kind of create this kind of bizarre and, you know, surreal character that is Lulu. So
very engaging, very again, I think you created a character through this collaboration that, you know, definitely engages with an audience and is very relatable. So I think that was exceedingly well done, you know, on that kind of aspect of the film. If we think about where you are now and the things that you have taken away from this project, what do you hope to bring with you into the industry, into your first big job, into everything else that you do from this point on? Because this is such a huge achievement. You've done such a good job, but what do you want to take forward?
Really, I think, like I said, I think it's really that kind of process of working with people and kind of just, that was something that really kind of just made everything easier, you know? And I think I think that, like, never be afraid to kind of ask someone's opinion. And I mean, it is a team effort, you know? I guess if you look at it like one of those old vessel ships, it's like the captain can't steer it himself, you know? He needs a crew. And I think that's something I'll definitely take forward with me.
That's brilliant. Listen, Bill, we're out of time. I know we could keep talking all night, but listen, huge congratulations to you from everybody. And this is such a huge achievement. Really, really well done. Okay. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Now, I think over to Colin. So you're up there, Colin.
That's great, JJ, and also congratulations, Bill, as well. So we've seen a doc, we've flavored a film, and we have 5 more short pieces to share with you and 5 graduates to meet. So next up, we have Cameron Johnson. He has taken on the heady challenge of making a documentary, a very beautiful piece. And welcome, Cameron. How are you?
Good, Colin. Thank you.
Yes, nice to see you've got your poster there as well. Dublin Spoken. Would you like to talk me through a little bit about what your film is about, what your doc is about?
Yeah, so Dublin Spoken is a documentary that shines a light on the spoken word community. So it's a kind of a rising art form that's getting more and more popular. And my film features interviews with 3 spoken word poets, Hazel Hogan, Casey Shelley, and Melissa Ridge, who are all gaining more and more ground in their poetry careers and getting more and more successful, as well as interviews with Lewis Kenny, who is a poet that was really popular, but has recently retired from poetry and has taken different directions in his life, and kind of comparing their experiences with the art form.
Cameron, I have to say that any of us that have ever worked in the arts doc space, it's becoming more and more challenging to make those kind of films really land, and it's such an incredible space to work in. You've brought emotion to your film. Before you say anything more, I'd love people to sample a bit of that, and so we have a clip lined up which we can talk about afterwards. Do you want to just roll it there?
Yep.
I just got up and was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. I just like closed my eyes and like completely got into it, and like, I just remember that feeling. It was a feeling that I'd never felt before. So I did the poem, and then I just opened my eyes, and like one person stood up and started clapping, and then I just got a standing ovation from everyone. And like about 3 people came up to me like crying their eyes out, and I was like, oh Jesus, this works, I affected people.
So Cameron, talk to me about the clip you chose. It ends with that great line, I affected people. You're obviously looking to do the same thing. Talk to me about why you were drawn to this subject matter.
Yeah, so that's Hazel Hogan, who is a fantastic poet. And the reason why I love this clip, and the reason why I think Hazel is a fantastic poet, is that every time you listen to her, you're just entranced in the moment. Whatever she is talking about, you feel like you are there and you are feeling whatever she was feeling in the moment that she's talking about in her poems. And I think this clip kind of gets across the power that performing poetry for both the artist and the audience can have. It's really, because there's no music or anything in spoken word, you're just there with the words of what the poets are saying, and you're caught in that moment, and it's a real intimacy that I think is absolutely beautiful.
Well, Cameron, I'd encourage anybody to connect with this film and find a way to see it. And congratulations. What have you learned really from the process? That I suppose, if you think in terms of challenges or breakthroughs or moments that you'd like to share here during the course of making this?
Yeah, there was so much learning that was done. I'd continue a lot of what Bill was saying about, letting or allowing other people's voices to shine as well. Of course, this film is all about me talking to a bunch of artists and finding out where they get their voices from and kind of developing that. And it was fantastic to interview people and to kind of figure out the best ways of interviewing people so that you kind of get the most insightful answers out of them, but also in terms of working with the crew and working with all the different people that come into play. I went in kind of not sure what I wanted to do, and it was through allowing all the people in my crew to have their voices heard and working with them, collaborating with them, and really getting kind of deep into what makes people passionate that helped me bring this film into from where it was at the beginning, which was me really confused, not sure what I wanted, to something that I think has a lot of emotional resonance. And the key to that was letting the most important thing, which is just the beauty of sharing your voice, shine through.
And you've done that with aplomb, and I again congratulate you. Cameron, we're running out of time here. Is there any one piece, one skill that you bring forward into the industry that you would like to talk about?
I think again, it just goes into, I think it's every single person, whether that person's an artist, anyone, everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has something to bring to the table. And I think that I've learned, especially through this project, that you're not one person. You grow by growing with other people. And I think I've learned that collaborating with people is what makes filmmaking such a beautiful art form. And I'm really excited to both develop the relationships with obviously the guys that I've worked with. A lot of these guys were on my crew and did a great job, and I'm excited to work with them again, and also bringing that forward and working with new people. It's always an exciting thing to do.
And you've got a lot of that ahead of you, so I'm glad you're excited. Thank you so much, Cameron, and back over to you, JJ, for more.
Thank you so much. So next up we have Sam Burke, and Sam has produced an extremely moving short drama written and directed called Silent Starling. So Sam, you're very welcome this evening. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your film?
Certainly, yes. So Silent Starling, as you say, is a short film. It's about a young girl whose name is Liz, who in this film is portrayed by a wonderful actress named Nikki Breedveld. And the story is essentially that Liz believes that her voice is cursed because every time she speaks to someone, something bad tends to happen to that person. So she's sequestered herself away and has tried to convince herself that she can go about living alone, but she desperately wants human connection at the same time being so terrified of what she thinks will happen if she opens her mouth. And that's essentially the premise of the film.
Okay, and what kind of connected you to this concept, or where did you come up with the concept, and what is it about this particular story that you think will work for audiences now?
Well, I knew at the very start of the year that I wanted to make a film that was about mental health or anxiety or depression. It's very unfortunately something that kind of is a thoroughfare in my family, unfortunately. But at the same time, I wanted to bring a spin to that kind of story that was unique or a little bit off kilter. I like stories that take what is seemingly a simple idea and then do something kind of strange with it to make it kind of more engaging. So the idea of a person who believes that if they speak, bad things will happen sort of was a little seed in my head. And then from there, it kind of rolled and rolled and rolled until I eventually ended up with what became the final version of the film.
Okay, well, it would be great to give people a taste of the film and to show them the central performance as well. So we have a clip for that here, and we're going to play that for you now. And then we'll ask you to talk about it.
Come on, Liz. Just say hello. One little word. Nothing's gonna happen.
Okay, so Sam, do you want to talk to us about the position of that clip in the context of the film? Because obviously she's sort of struggling to speak there.
Certainly, yes. So this moment comes at a point towards the beginning of the film where she is in a library and she sees across the way a girl named Hazel, who in this film is performed by an actress named Ellen Rogers. Liz believes that the two of them like have an awful lot in common, and she would like to go across the way and talk to her. But again, that fear of what she thinks will happen if she talks has kicked in there. So throughout the film is a lot of these kind of tricks with sound design that we do to show off moments where she's doubting herself, or when she's remembering times where her voice has affected the people around her that hold her back from seeking the human interaction and the comfort that she wants.
Well, and I think that's a good place to move on to our next question, actually, because, you know, you're talking about the sound design and you know, you actually managed to synthesize quite a few of the devices that are at your disposal in filmmaking to shortcut us into the mind of your central character, to bring us into her very subjective standpoint. But in terms of the making of the film, were there any kind of obstacles or anything logistically or, you know, aesthetically, creatively that you encountered, issues or obstacles that you overcame that kind of proved something to you about yourself and your strengths moving forward?
I like to think that we got absurdly lucky with most of the things that we were doing. Most of days of production actually went like fairly smoothly, and even in the post process, we managed to keep up good communication between myself and my editor and the other people involved in the post making of the film to make everything run smoothly. I would say that our second day of production was probably the most difficult for us. We were in a small village, which is a few minutes drive from me, which is actually called Hollywood, and it was a rainy evening. We had to make sure that like all the gear was looked after, and we were bringing people in and out of sort of this little pub that's on the corner there for when we were ready to shoot and when we were taking breaks to shoot. But through that whole process, it kind of reaffirmed to me something that I'd already kind of thought, which is remaining calm while you're in the middle of a stressful environment as a director helps out everybody on your crew. I think that if you're the director and you're in charge and you all of a sudden start to panic, that kind of seeps down through the rest of your crew and until people are at each other's throats and nothing really ends up well. So a lesson I think I took away from all of that was remaining calm in the moment and thinking out ways that you can circumvent the problems that are given to you, because things are going to always go wrong on a film set. They'll stand to you.
And you deal with all of those things so very, very well. And so my last question for you is really just for you to reflect on what you want to take forward with you into what you hope to do in the future. Because as you've discussed, you have remained calm under pressure. You have managed to, again, kind of collaborate with people, synthesize other people's opinions, work very well as a team, as a group. But what do you want to take with you?
I would say, as pretentious as it may sound, just a passion for telling stories. Filmmaking is a wonderful medium to be able to tell stories that are evocative and emotional and can affect people in a multitude of different ways. And the fact that you can do it all visually, and what kind of endless tools you have at your disposal to help tell those stories in this field is just fantastic. So with any luck, I'd like to bring forward my own ideas further and develop them a little bit more and continue telling stories that affect people across the world. That'd be amazing.
Well, Sam, that's a fantastic sentiment to end on, and we are right behind you every step of the way. Huge congratulations on this film. It turned out so, so well, and I hope you're very, very proud.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Colin, now over to you.
Thanks very much. Congratulations, absolutely, Sam. Another film I would implore you all to watch. It's a thoroughly enjoyable piece. Now, so Bill might have mentioned earlier on about writing about what you know and how freeing that was. Another person that I'm going to introduce you to did just that, about a lifelong passion. Kieran, would you like to join us and say hello? This is Kieran McHugh, who directed House of Pixels. And as the title might suggest, I'm not going to suggest anything. Tell us about your film, Kieran.
Okay, so it's a documentary about these two brothers who have collected various bits of video game memorabilia over the course of their lives. And I sit down with them and we discuss some of the history that Ireland has with the video games industry and their plan to turn their huge collection into a museum for that said history. And we just discuss how games have evolved as a medium and so on. And yeah, that's basically the film.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that was a real breakthrough moment, actually, genuinely for us as tutors watching this as well in the development of this, was when you added your own voice to this piece. Now, we don't have a piece of you doing a piece to camera or your links, but we do hear you across in narration. And it just brought the whole piece to life for us. Kieran, how did you find that experience of voicing or authoring your own narrative?
It was interesting. I had done that previously with like some smaller stuff that I'd done for college and even like did YouTube for a while. So I already been used to being on camera. It was more so it came across in the development process because I needed something to help find the structure of the film because we had pickups that were canceled, unfortunately, due to the current situation now. So it was basically through the editing process, I decided, you know what, this was something I've been like flip-flopping over the entire time of production. Let's just get the camera, record some voiceover, and just have me be kind of the host of the picture. So yeah.
Well, you have a little clip to share with us, just to give us a flavour of what House of Pixels is all about. Let's take a look at that.
Con and Dan have been collecting video game memorabilia since the late 80s. But where did the idea for the museum spring from?
Retro gaming is just coming along nowadays much more brilliantly. As you know yourself, you've been to a few retro gaming events.
Of course,
we
yeah.
love retro gaming events because it's
That's
just
how I ran into you guys.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. To be honest with you, myself and I were just talking, like playing Mario Kart or whatever, 5-6 years ago, let's just say, and you know, some of the stuff we're getting or from collecting or whatever is just so impressive. That belongs in the museum, you know. And I think that's kind of where the idea came.
So isn't it lovely just to make a documentary about something you're passionate about, Kieran?
Yeah, definitely. Like video games and movies have been like the biggest passion that I've had in like years. That doesn't make sense. Basically, like I've always been like big on films like from a young age, and then video games soon after I got my first couple of consoles. And with this, I just kind of combined the two in a story that I kind of already knew about from meeting these two at a convention about 3 years ago when I was still in first year. Funnily enough, held at Griffith College, so like it was meant to be almost. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
And where do you think would have been the biggest challenges for you producing this piece? If you wanted to identify those and actually, what did you do with that challenge? How did you overcome it?
Ooh, there were a lot of challenges on this film, thinking back on it. The aforementioned like canceling of pickups where we had to get a few smaller shots that we had missed. So we kind of had to work around it in the edit. I made the stupid decision of saving the initial edit on one of the computers in college. So I had to completely restart the editing process. But eventually I managed to get it to the point where it is at now and being the final picture and all that. Other than that, there was also just organizing the shoot itself. There was a lot of schedules like clashing with one another that resulted in like it being pushed back multiple times. Thankfully, we managed to get it done. That was like the biggest hurdle that I had to get over, Jesus. But yeah, that's basically it. Those are the challenges I've really faced with this film.
So definitely challenges, but where do you think, I suppose I've seen some real skills coming forward from Kieran. It's been a pleasure working with you throughout the year, but what skills would you say you've identified that you'll bring forward into the industry?
Sam kind of said the same sentiment I was thinking, just trying to maintain a positive attitude on set and like a positive atmosphere to like help get the creative juices flowing, because once everyone is on the same page and like really passionate about like what we're making and like we're feeling good, like, oh my God, this is going to be brilliant once we finish it all. That really helps me, because like there have been times on previous projects over the 3 years where I haven't directed, but I have I've let the stress get to me sometimes. But over the course of this past year, I've just learned that you need to like, just chill out, get everyone in a good mood and just do it, basically.
And Kieran, do it is exactly what you are literally doing. You have a great future for you, and congratulations. Thanks very much. And over to yourself there now, JJ, for the next one.
Thanks a million. So next up we have Julius Klooping, and Julius has made a film called Dublin Noir. And as the title suggests, it does have a relationship with film noir. So Julius, if you're there, I hope you're ready to kind of drop us into the world of your film, because it's a kind of a dark drama bordering on melodrama, which of course we get so much of from film noir, and it is given a very Dublin spin. So do you want to just talk to us about your film?
Yeah, so my story is about a private investigator who gets hired by a rich man to honey trap his wife. But then the story takes turn when the investigator himself falls in love with the wife and things get complicated.
Okay, so twists and turns along the road, plot twists galore. Can I ask you why noir? Why this story? You could have made a psychological thriller, you could have made a detective thriller, but this is very distinctive, you know? So what kind of resonated with you about all of that?
Yeah, so I've been interested in doing a detective private eye story for a few years, ever since reading novels about a private eye character. And doing it as a neo-noir set in Dublin really allowed me to create an aesthetically interesting visual style, which was also important to me.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, we have a trailer for your film, and it would be a great way for people to experience firsthand some of what we're talking about now. So if we have that clip, if we could take a look at that, that would be great.
This prick walks into my office one day.
Are you Oisin O'Neill?
No, I'm just robbing the place. Robbing a break. Wants me to spy on his wife, make sure she's behaving. I didn't mind. Easy money.
So there you have it. I think that gives us a very strong flavor of your protagonist, the central dilemma, and the film itself. So what were the biggest kind of hurdles for you in the making of this project? Because obviously you've got a very distinctive visual style and you've got lots of things that you're trying to achieve. So talk to us about challenges and what you learned from them.
So I think the biggest challenge was to create a neo-noir film that has all the elements we love from noir, but not the elements from noir that just don't have a place in today's society anymore. And I really learned that how important feedback is while doing this process, because when you're writing it, you are sitting in front of the laptop for hours and sometimes you don't see these things. So it's really important to get your work out there and get reviews from other people.
Okay, and in terms of then how you did manage to achieve a fairly kind of high budget, very ambitious kind of look within the constraints of student filmmaking. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit in terms of what guided your kind of instincts maybe when you were kind of conceiving of the idea, but then when you actually came to trying to find the right environments to shoot the project?
Yeah, so I had lots of inspiration from the photography community I'm also active in, and that really helped me to learn what I want and what I don't want. And then Dublin itself actually really lent itself to noir with its scenery, its weather, and the style of the inner city.
Okay.
So it all worked out really well in the end.
It sure did. You should be very proud of the results because they're very striking. And if you did have a moment where you looked deep within yourself, you experienced some kind of epiphany in the making of this about what you have to offer the industry moving forward. What is that? What do you want to offer the industry moving forward?
I think the biggest takeaway for me and what I'm going to go ahead with is my visual style and my visual sense. And not only creating aesthetically pleasing and interesting images, but also images that support the story, because the story eventually just drives the whole film.
Fantastic. Julius, very well said and very well done. Okay, I hope you're very proud of the results. And I know that all of these conditions this year have been exceptional and unique and challenged everyone to complete their projects in different ways, but very well done. Okay, best of luck in the future. And Colin, we are over to you then.
Thanks, JJ. And again, another congratulations to yourself, Julius. Now, you're all very good for staying with us and listening and watching and enjoying what we've offered from all these students so far and the graduates. We've one more to go, and worth waiting for. Even the great Dervla Walsh made a specific nod for this film, which I was thrilled to hear. Sarah, I'd say you were too. Sarah Johnson, you're very welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I see you've got a poster over your shoulder that says "From this day forward," and it doesn't look like they're getting on terribly well. Would you like to talk us through your film and just give us a bit of an insight into what it's all about?
Sure. So my film takes place in a world where engaged couples find out about their future. So we follow this couple played by Owen Groom and Nikki Breedfeld, and they're told some events about their future by a registrar character played by Stephen Jess. And after hearing these events, 3 or 4 events, they must decide if they still want to go through with their wedding or not.
So, I mean, there's a bit of fantasy in the writing. I mean, it's what I found really enthralling about this film was that it very much covered off real world issues and what if issues about relationships, but in a mildly fantastical way. And I think you straddled that really beautifully, Sarah. So do you want to talk to us about why you felt connected to the story and how you felt as you worked through it?
Sure. So how the story kind of changed as I wrote it, I throughout, I kind of focused on these themes of love and commitment, and how far you would go for the person you love. And that's what I really like, and that's what really drew me to the film in the first place. And I love how the film explores those themes and how it in the end, it questions them in a way.
Excellent. You must have, I mean, you went through various script versions, and you were always so careful with your paperwork and your structure, and you were like a sponge on techniques of how to do things. I have to say, really, I'm glad we've had a chance to say that back to you today, and it all reflected in your paperwork and your call sheets, and so take a bow for that, Sarah. But really, what would you feel are this kind of skills? And again, to echo the same sort of questions we've been asking everybody else, but same question to you. What do you feel were your challenges, and what do you bring by way of skills forward into the industry, and passions as well?
Well, I really have a passion for really the entire process of filmmaking, but to kind of be more detailed, my main focus is working with the actors to kind of bring the characters to life, and I really enjoyed that process. With these particular actors, they really helped enhance the story and their in the personality of the characters. And in terms of what I bring forward into the industry is, I think, yeah, this film really helped me enhance my creative knowledge of storytelling, and I hope to continue that in future projects.
Absolutely. I don't want to give things away, but I mean, do they make it? Do they not make it, Sarah? Is it too early to tell?
It's a little too early. I think you might have to watch the film to see.
Well, I encourage you all to do the same. So we've just, thank you very much and congratulations, Sarah. The very best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
Thanks very much also to JJ. We're going to hand over to Tanya, who's going to wrap this up for us. And thanks to you all.
Thanks, Colin.
Hey, thanks, Colin. Yeah, so I just want to say congratulations to everybody. I want to thank Colin and JJ for doing a fantastic job. And to all of our filmmakers, I want to say stay in touch. We are here if you need us. We are going to follow your careers. And the best of luck, guys. We're so proud of you. We really are. Well done. Good night.
Good night.
I think we're just going to show Sarah's clip.
Okay, so we're going to show...
I realized I hadn't showed the clip from Sarah. Sorry, that was my bad. So we can show it now.
Land it. So here is your marriage registration form, which gives you guys permission to marry. So after the ceremony, you
Your witnesses and whomever is marrying you simply sign this document and your marriage will be registered.
Is that everything?
That was absolutely worth showing. Sorry about that, Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah, my bad.
So yeah, but there we are. That was Sarah's clip. And again, I just want to thank everybody who was involved. Thanks a million.
Well done, everybody. Well
Well
done,
done,
guys. Big round of applause. Well done. Bye, guys.
Find out where I live, Sarah, and drop drop eggs and
That's the end, everybody. So thanks so much for joining, and best of luck. Okay, you can all, thanks a million.
We're still live.